It's not just modern competition in terms of guns and planes and bombs, but all of the ways powerful states compete in and through global networks. And in this case, those global networks include building competing infrastructure projects. Hi, I'm Ben Jensen at CSIS, and I'm here to talk about a recent report I did with our project on prosperity and development called the Waterfall Shadow in the Mekong Region. What this report does is show you that development assistance is a central part of national security. And in particular, we have to start to think about developing global infrastructure networks around core human needs like water as one of the central ways we compete with other great powers. In other words, great power competition is not necessarily a zero-sum game. We can compete while still helping the people the most likely to be affected by water scarcity and climate change, and in doing so, demonstrate the best of our values while also finding creative solutions to address more local needs. So why did we write this report? First, this report is a manifestation of two ongoing lines of research at CSIS. CSIS has had generous support from USAID to look at water programming. So how do you actually invest in water infrastructure, the ability of people all over the world to guarantee their access to safe, reliable sources of water we all rely upon. At the same time, we have an ongoing support from DARPA to think about modern competition. It's not just modern competition in terms of guns and planes and bombs, but all of the ways powerful states compete in and through global networks. And in this case, those global networks include building competing infrastructure projects. So the combination of an interest in understanding modern strategic competition, but also understanding water programs led us to write a report that analyzed water scarcity in one very geopolitically significant region, but analyzing it through research and tabletop exercises that allowed us to understand competition in and through infrastructure to establish access and influence that will define the 21st century. Increasingly, our world in a new Cold War is defined by rival infrastructure networks. And so if I had to think about what this report's really about, it's using the Mekong region as a microcosm to think about how the United States, with other democratic partners and allies, as well as the private sector, can actually create a network that rivals the Belt and Road Initiative China has developed and ensure that we have access, ensure that we address some of the most malign aspects of the influence of the Chinese Communist Party, and address basic human needs associated with climate change and water scarcity. If we strictly define the great power competition that will define the geopolitical future in our lifetime in military terms, we are setting ourselves up on a path of conflict. We don't need to do that. There is a way to structure and manage this competition that it actually becomes more about these global infrastructure networks and gaining a new commanding heights, while at the same time addressing basic human insecurity. We can win and do good at the same time. We can have our cake and eat it too. To read the full report, The Waterfall Shadow in the Mekong Region, please visit csis.org.